Come on, get up here. Get up here. Help Grandma get in.
Thank you. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mackinac Island. As you said, my name is Kara. Around here, they call me Kiki. And I'm sure you guys are dying to know more about my two ponies up front, right? No?
Yeah.
All right. On the left is Wiz. Everyone say, hey, Wiz.
Hi, Wiz.
And on the right is Jamie. Everyone say, hey, Jamie.
Hey, Jamie.
My horses love to be greeted because, as you all know, horses love hay. These two are Belgian draft horses. That's one of two draft breeds we have on the island. There are no Clydesdales here. We just have Belgians and Percherons. They're pretty easy to tell apart just by looking at their coat color. Belgians are this beautiful blonde color called flax and chestnut. Percherons are black, gray, or white. But regardless of their coat color or their breed, all horses love treats. The best place on the island to get horse treats is there at Dow's Market. It's America's oldest family-owned grocery store. It was established in 1884. Hold on, guys. I gotta turn on my turn signal. Turning! That beautiful green space in front of us is Marquette Park, named after Father Jacques Marquette, who was an early French missionary to the island in the late 1600s. That statue in the middle is a depiction of the father, but it probably looks nothing like him. It was dedicated in 1909, and for some reason, nobody really remembered what he looked like 200 years after his death. So the artist just kind of looked in the mirror, saw a pretty handsome guy, and decided that would be Father Marquette. On top of the hill is Fort Mackinac. That'll be your last point of interest during the second half of your tour. We are on Fort Street now, named for the fort. We're about to turn onto Market Street. Now this turn we're about to go on is actually the most difficult turn on the entire island for our horses. They have to pull this carriage up this pretty steep hill, make this pretty sharp turn, and start walking downhill all at once. But my horses make it look easy. Everyone say, good job.
Good job.
Good job.
They say thank you. On the right is the American Fur Company retail store, which is also the Dr. William Beaumont Museum. Dr. Beaumont was a post physician up at Fort Mackinac in the early 1800s. In 1822, a young French-Canadian fur trader named Alexis St. Martin came to the island, accidentally shot himself in the stomach right in front of that very building. Normally this would have proven fatal, but Dr. Beaumont was pretty brilliant, managed to save the young man's life. The wound, however, never fully closed. Poor Alexis was left with a hole about the size of a golf ball in his stomach for the rest of his life. Through this hole, Dr. Beaumont performed over 250 experiments. He would tie food to string and dip it in to see how it was digested. This is actually how we learned that it's enzymes rather than muscles that digest our food. On the left is the Veterans Memorial Park. Those plaques have a list of every islander that has served in the armed forces going all the way back to the Civil War, including modern conflicts such as the ones in Iraq and Afghanistan. On the right is the United States Post Office. That's a pretty unique building. It is the only post office on the island, and we don't deliver mail here, so all the islanders have to have a P.O. box. Rain, snow, sleet, or hail, you come pick up your own mail. We're about to pass the Stewart House and Community Hall buildings. These are the former headquarters of John Jacob Astor's American Fur Company. John Jacob Astor is said to be America's first self-made millionaire. In 1822 alone, over $3 million worth of fur was traded here on the island, and he pocketed most of that profit. Next to the Community Hall building is the courthouse and police station. Behind it are some big garages where the island keeps its darkest secrets. Do you guys keep a secret?
Yes.
motorized vehicles.
Oh.
Sorry to ruin the magic, guys, but we do have a few on the island for emergency services. As much as we love our horses, I don't think we want this to be the speed of our ambulance. That big white building we're passing is called the Lennox. That's the most important building on the island because the most important person on the island lives in it. Me. That's employee housing for Mackinac Island carriage tours. The we're on now is called Market Street. This used to be the main street of the island and the epicenter of the fur trade back in the 1800s. Since then, the main street has been moved down one block to where I picked you guys up to allow for the expansion of businesses in the tourism industry. Ahead of us, that little yellow cottage is called the Geranium Cottage. That's where our mayor lives. As we're turning onto Cadott, I would like to remind all of us that this is a narrated tour, and we all paid the same price, and it would be really respectful of everyone else in the carriage if you could be quiet and let them listen to my narration. On the right, that white building is the Chambers Livery Stable. That's been in the Chambers building for 5 generations, and it's the oldest operating stable on the island. We used to use it to house our taxi horses in our taxi division, but we've since outgrown that by about 5 times. We ran out of room, so we had to move up the hill. That is now where we keep our wedding horses. They are a very special breed called high step and hackneys. They're very rare and in high demand internationally. So if you do happen to see them trotting around the island, it is a very special treat. You should take a picture. They're so well loved because of their very distinct gait. When they trot, they take their legs way, way, way up, which is why they're called high steppin'. On the left is the Grand Cottage, which is also the former home of William Backhouse Astor. I mentioned John Jacob Astor back on Market Street, the founder of the fur company. William was his son. He owned that property, but you would rarely see him on the island because he was terrified of one crucial thing. Can anyone guess what that was?
Water.
Water. That's right. He refused to get on the ferry unless absolutely necessary. Apparently his fears were not unfounded because his grandson later decided to take a ride on a little boat known as the Titanic. He did not survive the journey, but he was the wealthiest man on the entire ship. When they recovered his body, he had $40,000 in his pocket. All around us here are lilac trees. They were brought over by the French in the 1600s to make the island feel a little bit more like home. Now we have more varieties than anywhere else in North America. We have 68 different types and 18 different hues. They also have the highest concentration in North America. Ahead of us on the right, those 2 houses are owned by the Orr family, O-R-R. The Orrs have been here for several generations. The one in front of us is the beautiful lavender doors, the newest addition to the downtown area. It's built by 2 of the Orr sisters and they live in it together. If you knock on the door, either Orr will answer. They did actually call it the Either Or Cottage, so I think they've got a pretty great sense of humor. Right next to it is the Little Stone Church. Guess not all of us can be as creative as the Orr sisters. It's built out of limestone that was quarried right here on Mackinac. They only have 3 to 5 feet of topsoil, so the limestone underneath is pretty easy to get to. Those stained glass windows were imported from New York, and they depict early missionary work on the island. This is one of the most popular spots on the island to have a wedding. They do weddings and vow renewals here if you're looking to celebrate your love on the island, as well as weekly services. If you look to the left, you'll see the roof of Mackinac Island's public school. It's got about 80 students there on any given year, grades K through 12. Their graduating class sizes tend to range between 2 and 10 students. This year, however, was a record-breaking year. We had a huge graduating class of a whopping 11 students. Pretty impressive, right? At least compared to last year. Last year, only 2 students graduated, and they were actually twins, brother and sister. I heard their prom was super awkward. Ahead on the left, see a cute little path that'll take you back to the Grand Hotel's gardens, as well as their tennis courts and pool. For a nominal fee, you can enter and explore them yourself. Do encourage it. The gardens are really beautiful, and you can admire the gardener's hard work for yourself. Sell it if they were selling it back to a member of his family for the same price of $15,000. So I urge you to go on to Ancestry.com and see if you're eligible for that cheap summer home. Until someone does so, it will serve as the governor's summer residence. It is the honor of any Michigan State governor in office to take that up as their home for the summer. On the right, we're passing the Jewel, which is the Grand Hotel's golf course. I'll get back to that in a minute. Right now, I'm sure you guys have already noticed it. On the left is the most recognizable landmark on the island, our crowning jewel and our pride and joy. That cute pineapple statue. The pineapple is the universal symbol of hospitality, but of course I am kidding. I'm talking about the building behind it, which is the Grand Hotel. That front porch there is 660 feet long, making it the longest covered porch in the entire world. That, along with 182 hotel rooms, was included in the original construction. They had a team of workers built the longest porch in the world, 183 hotel rooms, plus the conference room, the ballroom, the banquet hall, everything a fancy hotel needs. How long do you think all that took them?
Couple years.
A couple years?
Maybe 20.
Maybe 20? Way less than 20. Less than even a couple years. It only took them 93 days.
Wow, really?
Yep, they worked around the clock. They got it done in about 3 months. There are no longer 183 rooms at the Grand Hotel. There are now 403. If you look in between those two balconies, you'll see a seam where the addition was put. Each of the 403 rooms is decorated with its own individual theme. That means you can stay at the Grand Hotel in a different room every night for 403 nights. Never see two rooms that look alike. Some are themed after the beach or flowers. I had one group on the other week that was staying in a birch-themed room. Several are themed after former U.S. First Ladies. If you've ever wanted to live like Jackie Kennedy, now's your chance. 2 movies were filmed at the Grand Hotel. The first was in 1946 called This Time for Keeps, starring Jimmy Durant and Esther Williams. I have mentioned Esther Williams earlier in the tour. Might remember her name. Does anyone remember why I talked about her? No? Her name is the name of the pool. Hole-in-one. Also on the right is the Grand Hotel parking lot. This is the only 2-tiered parking structure on the entire island. On the left, over those trees, you'll see the roof of the Mackinac Cottage. It's got 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and it serves as the Grand Hotel's presidential and honeymoon suites. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, Kiki, why do you need 4 bedrooms for a honeymoon suite? I'll break it down for you. You need 2 extras, one for each set of in-laws in case they try to join you. You need one for the happy couple, of course. Most importantly, you always need a spare in case the couple's not so happy. On the left, there's a driveway. It's beautiful. It's covered in foliage. It's got that pretty stone wall. It is a lovely walk up to a pile of rubble. That pile of rubble used to be the Grand Hotel stables. But about 7 years ago, they were doing some light work. Discovered that the foundation was actually crumbling. So, I guess they were pretty unstable. They immediately evacuated all the horses and employees. And they rebuilt on top of Surrey Hill. I'll drop you on top of Surrey in between the first and second halves of your tour. There's no time limit on your ticket, so you can take as much time as you'd like up there to explore any of the buildings that Surrey has to offer, including the current stables of the Grand Hotel, which is visible from right here. It's in the entire world. Each one holds about 35 people. They're built by an Amish community down in Indiana, and I'll tell you a quick story about them. We ordered 17 carriages from the Amish. The Amish built 17 carriages, packed up 17 carriages, shipped out how many carriages?
17.
17, that's right. They arrived on the island. How many were there?
17.
17? I don't know where you got that number from. We somehow lost one. There were only 16. We never did figure out what happened to that last one. We also never figured out how we managed to lose the biggest carriage in the world. So if you do happen to find it on eBay or Craigslist, please let us know. Now remember, I said we have very creative names on the island. The barn with our taxi horses is the taxi barn. What do you think the barn in the middle is?
Carriage.
It's the middle barn.
Wow.
That's where our largest horses live. These guys are about 2,000 pounds each. As I said, the horses in there are about 2,500 each. The heaviest horse on the island lives in Middle Barn. His name is PK. He weighs 2,600 pounds. To see that in action during the second half of your tour, you'll board one of those green and white carriages to explore the state park. This barn here is our biggest barn. Anyone want to guess what we call it?
Big barn.
Big barn, that's right. That's where our teams of 2 live, just like Wiz and Jamie here. Behind it, where you're about to see our state-of-the-art wash rack. Isn't it fancy? That's where all of our horses get 2 baths a day. Once in the morning, once in the evening. In the evening, we wash off any sweat and dust they picked up during the day. In the morning, we make them nice and shiny for you guys. It's actually a myth that horses only sleep standing up. They will sleep laying down, but only if they're feeling safe.